Big Apple is New York. But does anyone know where Minneapolis? Does anyone know where Minneapolis?
Yep, that's right, that's right. I'm Katie Hampton in place of Christian Blatt, ready here for your Marvel movie talk. Yes, when the Blatt is away, the dad jokes are at play, and boy, do we have a great lineup today for you all. Joining me today is someone that you might know better from the Brooklyn Boys podcast. He might know a little bit more about what Christian is actually doing out in Arizona watching baseball. Please welcome David Brody.
Oh, thank you for segueing from dad jokes and making me the first person you introduced.
Hey, I had to ring a bell, you know? Oh, it's a cowbell. I love it. Oh, fantastic. All right. Well, coming up next, he is the host of the XPod 97 podcast. He is one of our special guests for today. Please, everybody, welcome Marcos Rivas.
Hello. How's everybody doing? Damn, I got the full government. Wow. Don't look me up, guys. Do not look me up. Trust me.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Just Marcos.
No, it's messy.
It's fine. And as always, we have to have our good friend, Count Eric Connor, who is also the current chair of the Burbank Cultural Commissions Center. Please welcome Eric Adam Hands Connor.
Yes. Yeah, finally we wrestled the bell away from Christian's cold, dead hand. Or he's in Arizona. Man. I'm not sure which.
Something like
that.
So
his hands are not cold right now, I could guarantee that.
Yeah, probably moist as well.
Very moist.
I bought mostly for the goofy covers that I've never.
Oh, okay. Nice. Well, today we're covering episode 4 of Daredevil Born Again, also known as Sic Sempra Systema. Anybody look that one up?
I know it's Latin.
It is. Nailed it.
The only Latin I know is like how to say there's a chicken. And even that I didn't do very well in 7th grade. So
wait.
I took Pig Latin, so can't help you.
So how do you say it?
So, that's why I failed.
So basically, I have this small little device in my hand that says,
whoa, it's a family podcast.
Whoa. It's a purple one. Anyway.
Well, like I said, it's a family podcast.
There we go. That's what we want to hear when Christian's away. We got to get those bells ringing.
X beans in a pod. Carry on.
So, thus always two tyrants. That's what it means. Oh,
yes,
no, sorry. No.
Tyrannus, which is actually...
No, wait a minute. It means chicken with broccoli. Sorry about that.
Yes.
It's Sic Semper Tyrannus is what the usual phrase is, and apparently it's actually it's more of a military term.
Yeah.
But we have Sic Sempra Systema, which means so always in the system. And so we've got a big theme of system going on here today. Sic Sempra Tyrannus, which means so always the tyrants, was a joke dating back to Latin, and then also dating back to the Civil War. It was a tag for the Civil War, meaning the tyrants will always be overthrown, but literally meaning get your foot off my neck, which harkens back to a couple of other phrases from abolitionists. A Quaker famously saying, "I ask no favor of my sex. All I ask is our brethren is that they take their feet off our necks." Thought that was interesting, putting that out there. But what does everybody think of Sic Sempra Systema, Daredevil Born Again?
I guess I'll start. I thought it was a great episode. It was well put together. If you're not going to give us a lot of action, I want this type of episode. I want where everybody comes in and it's like if there were an improv group, it's like, oh, you think you're doing good in this scene? Check me out next. And come on, John Bernthal. That's all I'm going to say.
And by the way, everyone, if you are just watching right now and you haven't seen the episode, go watch it first, because we are going to let all the spoilers go. No,
we'll wait. We're going to wait.
We'll wait. We'll sit here in silence.
Okay.
And then just go,
You could loop this part, this like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I concur.
What is Daredevil doing to that microphone?
You just said it's a kid show, so I'm not even going to say anything. You know,
that's why I'm saying maybe that shouldn't be there. I don't.
What
know.
Daredevil chooses to do with his body is his choice, David.
Listen, he's feeling out. His echo hearing did not show him where he was, so he tripped, and he's just
like full on mounting that microphone. Eric Adam's hands. Connor, what did you think of this episode?
I don't know what's going to happen to Adam, but I'm thinking he's going to be more liquid than man by the end of this all. He's not going to kill him. He's going to destroy him slowly, and I'm here for that. It's my new favorite serialized plot of this whole season. Who is Adam and what's he doing to him? This episode, Marcus brought up a really good point. It's like if Walking Dead oftentimes would have these kind of episodes, right? It's like the hanging out at the wall before they got to leave and go to someplace else. And so it's in some ways like a variation of like a bottle episode, right? Where you don't spend as much money, gets a little more rooted in character. But here's the thing about Daredevil as a show. And again, going back to something we said before, it's still so much a TV series. Yeah. And I think that's what is the strength of this show. And its storytelling, its patience, the fact that it doesn't just have to be rat-tat-tat. I mean, right? He still hasn't been in his costume. I think, Brody, you said the over-under was it 5.5? Is what we came up with last night?
I predicted by the end of this episode, and he came awfully close. He looked at his helmets.
Yes.
He started training. I feel like training, he was Daredevil on the roof. I'm going where he was mentally Daredevil, and we saw the costume. I mean, I'm close right there, very close.
You can make the argument, Brody. You can make a very solid argument that you won.
I think I did.
So here you go, a light bell.
Bell light.
Yeah, just the tip. But it was a really lovely episode, and I think also too, this does the thing that I was kind of harping about with Winter Soldier and Falcon and Winter Soldier was it actually gets into societal issues. It's not afraid to be about things like class and race in ways that other shows might have mentioned in passing, but this show actually deals with. So I hats off to them for kind of having the courage of the convictions to be about more than just the superhero lore.
And, absolutely. I would agree with that. Yeah.
If I can add to that, like literally we start off the episode with Matt, very angry over the death of Ayala, the White Tiger, and he's having a bad day. He gets given this pro bono case, and immediately he does what a lot of us do as individuals when you're having a bad day. You only think about yourself and about your feeling, not understanding what other individuals are going around. And he kind of dismissed the guy that was assigned to him. And was like, even after he came back with what he felt he did, he was like, you know what? I'm a great lawyer. I'm going above and beyond and got him this deal. And then the second that he took to actually listen to the guy, that was an amazing scene. He explained to him that, like, honestly, if you think about it, I just wanted to eat. So you're telling me that they will spend way more money incarcerating me versus just feeding me. And then that's when it dawned on him. And I like to say my internal dialogue is that's when Matt goes, oh, I am an asshole.
Well, it's all rolling back into the system. And the system is definitely a big theme of this episode, along with forgiveness. Brody, what did you think about this episode?
I loved it. It's funny you mentioned The Walking Dead, where John Bernthal was on as well.
Yeah, right.
That scene of them not fighting was fantastic. The fact that he slapped him and was like, no, that's the first real thing you did. Like, it was interesting because he said, like, say his name, right? But it was almost like, was he not saying Foggy or was he not saying Ayala? Like, he had both, he was bottling up both deaths. So that scene was like one of those, you really have to think about it and watch it again scenes. And the scene with Fiddle Faddle in the prison, I call him Fiddle Faddle, in the cell, was also one of those scenes where it was, the guy didn't get it, right? He's like, you don't get it. You're going to be there 30 days. I'm going to go get you 10. And as a viewer, you're like, yeah, the guy committed a crime. He should be thrilled with 10. Then the guy speaks and you're like, wait a minute. Okay, my perspective just changed because, I whether I agree or disagree, it was thought-provoking. And that's what you want from a television show where you turn it off and you go, okay, What would I do in that situation? How was he right? Was he wrong? Was he sort of wrong? Would I have done that in that situation? But it made you think, and it wasn't just like light fare that you're watching. I watched a superhero show. No, I watched a courtroom drama. I watched a human drama, and it's just there's so much to deal with. I loved the episode, even though there was no fighting, and even though he came very close to being Daredevil at the end.
Yes, true. Very true.
Doubling down on that. I like it.
Right,
I like
doubling down.
Well,
Look at it on his right there. DD doubling down. So
doubling down. Oh, I love that. Oh, give it
my second favorite DD.
There you go. Oh, you're gonna be so annoyed with us by the end of this. All right.
But Daffy Duck. Come on.
Oh, hey, good save.
Dirk
There you
Or
go.
Diggler.
Donald Duck. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dirk
designated.
Diggler.
Well, we start the episode with everyone's favorite is
Nepo baby.
good old Nepo baby Gandalf.
Hey, how you doing?
What can you say? He loves the guy, you guys. What an interesting story this guy went on. What did you guys think of his acting in this one? Did you like him a little more? Did you like him a little less?
I felt like he didn't act in this one. I felt like basically he was partying and they just brought the film crew there, and then like the actress that plays BB was there, and then they were like, "Hey, you need to get this line." He's like, "What line?" And he was like, "The line about Wilson Fisk." He's like, "Oh, the him meeting with the guys." They're like, "Yep, we got it. Let's go, folks." It's like
I think the ceiling on his abilities is exceptionally low. With all due peace and love, as a massive Sopranos fan, like I'm pretty sure all of us are, we're always hoping, like at some point, just like I would love to nothing more than to see Bronny James have a massive career ahead of him. But I just hope Baruch Hashem, as we say in the Hebrew, I hope I can live long enough for this day. I would love to see him more interesting than he is. But with this, and also with his work in the Many Saints of Newark, or Newark, if it was set in Delaware, he basically, this character, though, to their credit, feels like a Nepo baby. So in some ways, like they're writing to his, I use the word loosely, to his strengths.
Yeah. No, and I would say that even in this episode, honestly, I thought it brought another side to him that was kind of nice, where he was really showing off how much he needs this more than anybody else, because he's a sad kid.
Marcos, to your point, he's just improvising. It's just him talking.
Like can anybody answer me why him and BB are friends?
That's the greatest question of all time.
Like they don't even look like they know each other.
He got her the job, and I think they're like the same age. They must have like traveled in circles together, Maybe they went to school together. They don't really explain it.
Did they go to college together? Did we?
He just he didn't go to college. Come on now.
Fair. He dropped out.
He hung out. He took the bus stop was in front of the college.
He's taking ketamine. He's not. Yeah. I did find it when he was groveling to Wilson Fisk. The way he treats Fisk is the way everyone treated his father on The Sopranos. That hero worship. That, hey, I'll do anything for you, Tone. I'm loyal, Tone. But sooner or later, Tone puts a bullet in your head when you let him down twice. That kid's dead man walking. He's getting Jackie Jr. in the back of the head before episode 6, maybe 7, but he's not making it to episode 8. He's not. He's gonna fuck up one more time, and he's like, "I told you," and you're dead.
Brody, I'm gonna take the overaction. I'm gonna say he makes it to, so you'll say he'd be gone by episode 8. I'm saying he's gonna make it to episode 8.
No, too much else has to happen in episode 8.
We'll put some money.
All right.
Put some money on this.
All right.
Deal.
Here, I'd like to add one
Deal,
more
mother.
thing. Would he last longer than Sheila? Because Sheila feels like she's on her way out. Like, what?
I think she's a survivor. I think she knows.
Yeah.
That, yeah.
He can't run the government without her. He can't.
So I think Nepo baby, his entire character is just there to stroke Wilson Fisk's ego. Like the other assistant, the communication assistant, I feel like she's there as the reality check. But like it's like, oh, I like what this guy is saying, even though what he's saying I can't really do right now. Like he's the yes guy. Like, I don't know. Remember in the scene when they're sitting in front of the very small model of what he wants it in Red Hook, and then he's like, "Oh, this is a great job. We could do this," and she's like, "No, you can't." And then at the end, he pretty much says in his own words, like, So you say there's a chance, like, so
Right.
Right. Well, he even says something to the effect of like, you are giving me only like roadblocks, not solutions. I need
Right.
you're giving me more problems, not solutions. But what an interesting thing when the beginning of this episode between Fisk and our good friend Vanessa is finally going to therapy. I honestly, this was one of my favorite therapy scenes ever shown on TV. Yeah, marriage counseling, it works. But what an interesting thing that we've got Vanessa saying that she's been betrayed because Wilson left, and Wilson saying that he's been betrayed because she's got some kind of side piece named Adam that we don't know a whole lot about. But then we get this really great advice from the therapist saying that forgiveness is the highest form of love, and how that kind of goes throughout the entire episode. What did you guys think of this scene?
Well, they're much closer together than they were last week, which I think is symbolic, right? I thought it was a good scene. My main problem with the scene, especially when you're married to Wilson Fisk, is when she says, "Tell me about Adam," and she's like, "Oh God, his hands were awesome. He's an art." Like she lit up. That is the worst thing you could do. Just be like, you know what? I was lonely. He was different than Wilson. I made a mistake. Don't be like, you're all like, Adam. Oh, the guy's sitting there like he's going to go back and punch the guy the minute he gets out of that room.
First of all, I honestly think that this scene right here, and even this screenshot proves that he's a big simp for her.
Oh yeah.
Like huge,
oh, yeah.
It's like to the point that and I don't think she knows that, the reveal at the end that he's in prison. I think if she goes over and it's like, let him out, and I love him, and I think you should leave him alone. You should just be okay with this. He'll be like, okay. But it's like,
well, it's like, Wilson, if you're going to kill him, at least keep his hands.
Yeah.
Well,
Let me have those.
Think about it too. In season 1, or I believe in the original series, Wilson is impressive to Vanessa because she sees him as kind of an artist, and with how he beats people to a bloody pulp. Interesting that we also kind of have this running thing while we also get a couple of glimpses of our newest villain, Muse, throughout the episode. But she keeps saying that how his hands were and like how he was a true artist. And what a big blow to Fisk, saying that, this is what a real artist is, and he's just being a politician right now.
Yeah, it's insane the stuff he puts up with. Like she, like honestly, like without knowing anything about them, like if we just are like peeking into their session, you almost feel like he wronged her, like that like she's like trying to make it seem like she was justified in her manipulation and her, cheating on him and everything. And like I felt at a certain point, Wilson Fisk will probably be in the back, like, yep, you know what? I understand. I am very sorry that I put you in this position. And it's kind of like that's the vibe he's given. So
well, I had a question for you guys, because one thing, and this happens sometimes, of course, with all these various Marvel titles, is when one storyline does something that another storyline then tries to course correct or just disappear, kind of snap out of existence. The idea that he didn't reach out to her, that he just left, again, I know he was shot in point blank in the eye, and it hasn't happened to me in quite a few weeks. And
I
like
thought that would explain the glasses.
Yeah.
It does. It's just, it's been a few weeks since he put the glasses on.
I just need a little more LASIK to tune it up. I'll be fine.
Okay.
But that idea, like, why did he just disappear on her, considering how she has been for 3 seasons of Daredevil? Like, so much of his logic, his choices were her first.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering for you guys, like, does that feel like a little bit of a hole in the storytelling that he did just sort of disappear on her? Okay.
Yeah.
Even when he was hunting Echo, he could have phone called her and said, "Hey, I'm going after my sort of daughter," or whatever. And then when you're in the hospital, don't they contact next of kin? Don't they like, he may have gone to like a doctor on the side. Somebody were like,
it was a
in case
bullet
of emergency.
See,
What's that?
it was a bullet wound, so they would have to. I mean, in the real world, they have to report that if there is a bullet.
Yeah,
entry
again,
wound.
unless he went to a doctor who wouldn't
Yeah,
report him, you know.
I don't
Visiting
think that
goodbye.
I think that's the thing. I think he went to like a mob doctor or something.
Yeah.
So I wrestled with that question, but then it's like, if you think about it, it might be a plot hole, but if you think about it in this world sense, it kind of makes sense why he did it, because he felt himself as invincible, as the kingpin, as nobody could get to me. And it wasn't Daredevil, and well, at least at this point, it wasn't Spider-Man. It was his closest confidant, Echo, the one that he saw as his daughter.
Mhm.
So he wasn't even hurt physically as much as he probably was hurt psychologically,
Yeah.
because this is something that he protected just as much as he protected Vanessa
Mhm.
and cared for her, and that also made him vulnerable, and that probably scared him.
Oh, yeah.
So, and his logic was like, I got to take care of this one vulnerability before I could be the person that comes back and protects my Vanessa, my precious, you know? So that's probably why he did it. Was it a sane move or a smart move? No, but this is Wilson Fisk. Look
Right.
at him. Even now, he's so dead in the eyes, and this is why I love Vincent D'Onofrio in this role. It's like you don't know what he's thinking. Like, but it could very well be a huge plot hole that people are like, oh man.
Yeah,
I think they're showing him in hell, like legitimately in hell, by making this political decision. I mean, one of the funniest scenes was probably when all the kids were singing "We Built This City."
no,
He's
it was
like-
when the Latvarians,
Yeah.
the second people, when they were singing the same song, he's like, "Holy crap, another language, same song, unreal." To me, him disappearing, I get getting shot in the face, you know, I being away, but the way he loves Vanessa, I can't fathom. Like if I was in a terrible car accident and I woke up, you know, and they couldn't contact my family, the first thing when I woke up would be like, I got to call my wife, I got to call my family, because it's not like they were estranged.
Right.
He's head over heels, he's crazy about her, and then on her, look, I get people have issues, they go to therapy, I get it, but her rationale was, you reminded me of my father, you know, he left, so I had to have sex with a man multiple times. I'm not of the mindset that like, oh, like, wouldn't you think Wilson was dead, considering his line of work?
I think that's
And
what she was hinting at. I think she assumed he was dead and she wasn't going to get him back. And
why
knew
not
he
say
was
that?
gone.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's a good
Well-
logic. It's like, yeah, I thought you were gone. Like, I
Right,
thought
say,
you were
I thought
literally dead.
so I moved on with my
Your
life
fault.
because why would you ever not call me? So you had to be dead.
And do we know how long of time that he was gone from her?
I believe after Echo and with the time jump, it's about it could be 2 years to 18 months,
Oh, wow.
because he started campaigning around Foggy's death, and then
Right.
this is a year later, and I think Echo happened like a couple months before this, and then if you think about it, like I get it, Brody, what you're saying. In the Netflix iteration, when Daredevil got the best of him, she chastised him. She was like, basically, you got to go and fix this.
Mhm.
And when that's when I think her tonal shift changed, where she went from like, oh my God, this poor lady that's a victim of his infatuation, to like, no, she really likes this, and she's a lot more evil than he is, because you could tell he's more of a tool, at least in Daredevil Born Again, in terms of Fisk, versus, you know, she's more like evil and trying to manipulate him. She knows what to say. I feel like the entire time that they're in a scene together, she's in control, versus him, where it was, she was like kind of scared of him in the previous. Now she's like, whatever, bro. Like,
No,
Yeah,
you
well,
know,
she told the psychiatrist, like, he won't hurt me.
No,
You
and
know?
that what a great thing. And also Cami Egan, hello Cami Egan, says Fisk has no issue beating the hell out of or killing someone, but he'll never physically abuse her because he recalls the abuse of his mother endured.
Mhm.
And I thought that was a really great connection too, that Vanessa makes it very clear. But what an interesting question that she asked at the end: should I be concerned? Where does that come from?
Well, it feels like it's going there. I mean, it
Yeah.
feels like at some point, you know, there is gonna be the battle. And apologies, I don't know in the comic book how it played out between them, but
no,
I
he
don't.
never. he's not as big as a simp as he is on this TV show,
Okay.
but he kind of toes that line. I think then when she asked him that, is more to like rub salt in the wound, because now he's like, crap, I thought I was being. Now she's like, no, you still make me feel kind of unsafe. Like
Yeah.
and then it's kind of like the way she asked him. It's like, you see, other people are now worried for me, and now he's like, man, I gotta even fall back even further. Like, like it leaves him in I believe in a mental spiral, which
Yeah.
leads us to him seeking towards the end something that he can understand and control. Like, I don't know if you saw that final scene. It wasn't even the reveal of Adam. It was more that he was eating his fatty foods, that he was going back to his comfort, which is literally greasy meal, a good glass of wine, and somebody terrified, and him not really paying attention to him.
Yeah, what a phenomenal shot that was. And Cami Egan even says, I don't know about you guys, but I wanted Fisk's dinner when he was taunting Adam. All I could think about when I saw that plate was how many sausages there were, and it also made me think of this. Did anyone else get this sort of Ramsay-esque situation? Taunting Theon Greyjoy? Am I the only one that got this?
I don't know that show.
Okay.
You don't know the Throne of Games, also known as the Game of Thrones?
I know the show, but I don't know this. I didn't watch it, so I.
All right. Well, there's a scene where this very sadistic motherfucker is basically taunting someone that has been castrated, and I wasn't sure why we had so many huge sausages on the plate.
When in doubt.
When in doubt, get a
Or
couple
on this
of sausages.
podcast, so you know.
Hey,
There you go.
It's a kid show. It's a kid show.
Yeah, it's a kid's show.
But like, think about the duality that they had. That these are two men. Like, I think this show is just as much about Matt Murdock as it is about Wilson Fisk, because both men are wearing their mask right now, and their true self is dying to burst through, to the point that Matt can't sleep. He gets up and literally goes, like if he's a sadistic serial killer, and just touches his trophies, to all his helmets. He kept every single one of them. And then, like, I 100% believe that he does this every night. That would explain why he was so crisp in the episode 2. That's why he can move the way he does. And it's like it's like sleepwalking to him. And I think that's what Wilson Fisk does. He's like, has to put up with all this for every day that he has to listen to. We built this city. He goes in every time. He's like, oh, I better get extra gravy. I better get more sausage on my plate. Like, like, it's like, I've been going without. It's like the husband that has a low calorie diet. Like, you remember Fresh Prince? When Uncle Phil
had to go on
was on a diet, but then he woke up and he was sneaking in as soon as everybody was like his food. Like, I feel like that's what he's doing. He's like, I'm gonna do what I really want to do in the dark where nobody can judge me, and that's what I think both guys are doing.
Yeah, it was like they had man caves. Like Matt has his he has his rooftop, and he has his room of costumes, and Fisk had his literally a man cave with a man in it.
Right.
But he also had his rabbit in the snowstorm painting on the wall.
Yes, he did.
Where, like, why doesn't Vanessa wonder where that is? She knows it means everything to him, and yet he has it somewhere else, not in their home. Maybe was he like, oh, the blood splattered it, so I got rid of it? But he's lying to her. Right. Is that another thing he's lying to her about?
I'm assuming she doesn't go to. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brady.
No, I was just saying that they both have a secret world where they want to bust out, but they go there to like just go. I could be this person for a few minutes, and I got to go back to the real world.
Yeah.
But also, does Vanessa strike you as a person that doesn't have this location on his phone? Like,
yeah. No, completely. I think she hasn't been to this.
Well,
obviously, she hasn't been in this room.
Clearly not. I mean, she might now, but she didn't when he disappeared.
Yeah,
true.
And also too, this idea that Adam's screams are like his white noise machine. Yeah, that's his music. Music to his ears is the cries.
If he would have been eating and if he was listening to a symphony
with his sausage in his hand, that would have been the everything. And I think that connection between Fisk and Matt is so strong in this, and it has been
Yeah.
in the original Daredevil series as well. The idea that it's what always made, sorry to jump over to a different universe, but Batman Joker, right, is like they're so close and just one slight degree different, one chromosome different, all of a sudden they go in, markedly different directions, but at the core they're the same guy. Same here, right? There's the two sides of them, and no matter what he does as a mayor, that urge is always so strong in him. One real quick thing I was also going to say. So you brought up before, Katie, like, so I'm on this Cultural Arts Commission for Burbank, but we have to follow the regulations of what's called the Brown Act. I will not bore you with the details, but it is basically about transparency in government. So that one moment when she was laying down all the things, oh, great. So then we have to do this. Well, then we do that. Fine. Then you fill out this form. And then you have to do the TPS reports. Like, in essence, like, and that to me is so much, like, in one scene, a perfect manifestation of bureaucracy and red tape and all the things Fisk never dealt with in his entire life, because he never had the patience, time, or energy to deal with that crap. And that's so much of the job, even when it's him doing it. So, and by the way, it definitely reflects to what's going on in 2025 in ways that I don't imagine they could have realized how close they'd be to where we are. So
What?
It's a little shocking. And may I bring up Cammie Egan once again, always with the great comments. Sheila is a survivor because she knows how to get around a lot of red tape. I do hope that's true. The look that she gave when Wilson was basically finally taking the pardon, but only to the wrong guy. That actually scared me. I was like, okay, I think Sheila's on her way out, because she's not going to like bend the knee to Fisk, as Gandolfini seems to have been doing. So
I think Gandolfini has not gotten off his knee.
Oh no, that's true. He's
like the entire time. He needs knee pads down there. Like, but no, can we talk about just, if we take ourselves out of this universe, where's HR? He basically threatened the entire staff in the office where he swore to uphold. And like, it wasn't like, I'm pretty sure people have worked at jobs. It's like, I will kill you. It's like, no, with him, given his past, it's like, oh, this is real. But then after he gave himself up, everybody's like, all right, cool. What are you guys doing for lunch? And they all just filed out of the office to like not caring what's going to happen.
Marcos, that's what Christian does to us every episode.
That's why we can't ring our bells.
Do it now. I say you guys should give him a
this right here. This is Japanese for help me. Help me.
I'm not the first David Brody.
That's literally deserves a bell, though. But yeah, no, it's interesting that you asked that question, because it goes along with a lot of questions that I feel like we as Americans are asking, like, why isn't someone doing something about this? Because
all the people around are okay with it.
Right.
Sheila is the only, there's no Sheila in the real world right now.
No,
there
but
were Sheilas 4 years ago. Sheilas.
We do have the hope of a potential Sheila coming when we saw the amulet arrive, when we were seeing all of the things from White Tiger being boxed up and just kind of put away thanks to the system. This was the last thing that was grabbed before we ended up seeing our good friend and niece actress. Here she is. This is Camila Rodriguez, best known for Station 19. If you've seen that one, this is a much better show for her, I think. What a scene. She was incredible in this. I do hope that she actually becomes the White Tiger, because I'm very excited to see what she's got going for her. But woo-hoo-hoo. How'd you guys feel about this?
Spunky, yes. Determined, yes. 12 years old, yes. I mean, I'm sorry.
How old is she?
The amulet may be powerful, but come on. You already gave me a tiny little woman in New World Order, or not, whatever, the Brave New World, whatever it was called.
Shira Haas, yeah.
Right. She was like 40 pounds. This is not a crime fighter. Make the wife or the aunt like in the comics, and when she gets older, she can be White Tiger. Right now, she's like White Pussycat. She's not. She can't be the White Tiger.
White kitten.
The
She
white
came
kitten.
into
Yeah, let's go with
the
white
scene. She came into the scene, sold the scene, and then kicked Matt right in the emotional sack. Like
Yeah.
it's like everybody caught strays, as they say. It's like, hey, thanks for getting my uncle out, but yeah, he's dead. What good does that do? Like, it's like, oof.
No one's doing anything. I mean, she's basically the heart of this episode is just like the theme. No one's doing anything. No one's going to do anything, and especially not the effing cops. Woo! I
Right.
started clapping.
Well, do you guys remember I think it was Civil War when I want to say Alfred Woodard yelled at Tony Stark
Mhm.
in essence, like, you're all high on the hog, but
Mhm.
meanwhile, like, my son died in one of your battles.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the sobering reminder. And I think so much of this episode, one of you guys brought up before, it's like Matt's coming to the reality of like he is a flawed man and it is an incredibly flawed system.
Yeah.
And even though he's trying to behave himself and not Daredevil up as much, although I agree he's probably training every night, the truth is like he's seeing the limits of what he can do as an attorney. And that to me is the thing that's going to bring him right back to putting that suit on come an episode from now, because he in essence sees like, yeah, the shit doesn't work, try as he might. And that's Daredevil can do the things Matt Murdock never could for these people.
Right.
And
What did we agree the Latin meant in the system, permanently in the
Always.
system?
It always goes back to the system.
Right. So the system is the bad cops. The system is what's in his system, which is the inability to fix everything. Like what Punisher said to him. He's in your mind. You're constantly thinking about it. So I think this whole thing is about what's in his system. What's in Wilson Fisk, to Marcos's point, it's in his system to be a gangster. It's in Daredevil's. It's in Matt's system to be Daredevil, and the judicial system, whether it's the fiddle faddle guy, who by the way tried to say maybe it was a scroll. That was hilarious.
That was phenomenal. Great line. Greatly
Scroll. I'm on video. Could it have been a scroll? It's
yep, I
It's-
really
it's-
like that.
it's in
Phenomenal.
his system to be a criminal. He's caught up in the system. I think the entire show is about different systems and trying to find a way to break the system.
I
yeah.
would wholeheartedly agree with that. And if anyone said it from just the layman's view best, I would have to say it was BB North's little report here with the man on the bench, that our good old New Yorker on the bench. They're the only people that can solve the problem in New York, which is he's talking about vigilantes. And he says, I wish I could be a vigilante. I'd be out there too.
I would love to know what his superhero name would be.
Cap him.
But
bald cap America.
Bald cap America.
Bald cap.
Oh, give me that bell.
but I don't, I love this version of Matt, and I don't know if you guys picked up on it. Like we're getting a version of Matt that doesn't believe his own ideals. All the stuff that he said leading up to this show on Netflix, he was like, you got to be better, you got to be this, but then he constantly proves that he doesn't believe it anymore himself. Right. Like the confrontation with him and the cop in the courtroom, in the courthouse, that was something that like old Matt would have avoided, but this Matt is like, he knows that painting within the lines is not helping him, to the point that he's antagonizing him. And it's like, I don't think old Matt would say to this guy after the guy vaguely threatened him that, oh yeah, why don't you bring more guys? Because you saw what happened the last time. It's like he's like, he wants to fight. He doesn't want to. I think the old Matt would have been like, you know what? I'm gonna get some dirt on you. Something's gonna stick on you, and it's not just about Ayala. It's about the people and the people that you are. And then it was a good use of his powers, because I think this guy is not a good person. But at least when he pinned him to the wall, he knew that there's some, in his twisted way, he has some morality, and he abides by what the court system is, which is weird because I don't believe Matt abides by it, because Matt is out for vengeance. He's
and
like,
this guy doesn't either, because this guy was
going to kill Matt. They were going to kill Matt in the apartment.
He was going to kill him in cold blood, point blank.
He's going to kill his only witness that turned on him eventually. But
I think the only thing that the heartbeat scene that you're talking about, Marcos, showed is that he didn't kill Ayala.
Right.
He wasn't aware of who killed him. That's it.
What if he
Anything else,
could?
he would have. He probably would have no problem with it. But his heartbeat said he had no clue what he was talking about at that moment.
Yeah.
But he's definitely
Said it was telling truth.
he's not. He doesn't work within the lines. Absolutely not.
Well, and I think also now we're really seeing why the show opted not to have Foggy and Karen. Because in essence, like what they were always good at was they would bring us back to
Reality.
the sort of moral, legal road that Matt could take. Now I mean, obviously Foggy's gone, unless my prequel or my sequel idea gets greenlit. Marcus, I'll send you the poster for my movie.
I'm down.
Oh, it's called Fog. It's fantastic. And
Terrific.
And Karen, I don't know, she's hanging out in the Bay Area trying to find where the Oakland A's play now. And
But
so in essence, it's like they were his moral compass and they're gone.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually pretty important for this season.
Well, and I think it's also especially important for this episode because who does Matt end up going to for a moral compass, but none other than our good friend, the Punisher.
I have a different take on that. I felt that Matt felt like shit and he wanted to dump on somebody that he felt he was morally superior.
Ooh.
And then Frank turned it on him. He basically, it's like Frank is like, oh, you're coming to me? I told you that you're just a bad day away from being me.
Right.
And he basically told him like, I don't want anything to do with you. And then he would have left him alone, but then he had to needle him. Like, again, Matt being Matt, his holier than thou attitude that he's been carrying. He's like, oh yeah, like he came over there. He knew he had no information. He knew that Frank didn't kill Ayala. He just wanted to be like, hey, look, these guys are your fans. And then I love his reaction. He's like, what the hell does that have to do with me? Like,
well, and what's great is that not only that, but Charlie calls him a victim, which I love because that definitely triggers him into saying, I don't use that pussy ass word my entire life. But it's also showing how much the fandom around Punisher has become something completely different. And luckily, Brody actually sent me a really great screenshot from the comic book. This is exactly how he deals with these sort of like fanboys. He rips it up. He doesn't care about these guys. They're not doing the thing that he actually wants to accomplish. Yep. And so there is some form of morality there, even though we've kind of got him on a really bad day.
Can I read what's in the bottom bubble? Because it's hard to read on the screen.
Yeah.
He says to the cops after he says, they're like, we love you. We're doing this for you. He says, I'll say this once. We're not the same. You took an oath to uphold the law. You help people. I gave all that up a long time ago. You don't do what I do. Nobody does. You boys need a role model. His name is Captain America. He'd be happy to have you. So they're like, follow Captain America and how he lives. Don't follow me.
Right.
Right.
Like he basically says in the show, he's like, I'm doing this because I have to, because of his own reasons. He's not asking anybody to join a cause. He's not asking to team up with anybody. He doesn't want to help anybody. And like to the point that he's barely holding it together. Like I felt like and it was very subtle. The pill bottle that he opened, I felt like that's an antipsychotic.
It has to be. Yeah.
Like he's like, I can't deal with your shit right now. Like, why are you coming to me? And he basically like turned the mirror around on Matt and was like, you are the one that's fighting this. Don't come to me. Don't wag your finger at me. You're the one that feels powerless. You're the victim now.
Right. And I got my compass. Get yours.
Yeah. Basically, when he said to him, when he's like, oh, so when Bullseye goes and it's eating at the chow hall and he's like, he has life. Where's Foggy? And I was like, oof. I was like at that point, you saw Matt started crying and he was like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and just leave because I have nothing else to say here.
I mean, he threw him off the roof. He did try to kill him.
He did.
To your point, Marcos, I think he went there hoping that Punisher would see that people were killing with his logo and his symbol, and that Punisher would do the job he doesn't want to do. That Punisher would say, I'm going to go fucking kill these guys, right? I'm going to, pardon my language, I'm going to go get them, F them up, right? So that Matt wouldn't have to. I think Matt realizes he's going to have to F them up.
Yeah.
And he was hoping he could get Punisher to do it for him. And Punisher was like, I'm not doing it. That's not who I am.
Think about it from his sense, like his warped sense of morality. he'll sleep better at night because it's not his hands
Right.
doling out the punishment. But technically, you pointing somebody to do it, you're just as culpable, if not more culpable, than you actually doing it yourself. So it's twisted. It's again, he doesn't have faith in the old morality that he set up in his mind and in this life that he's leaving. So like again, it's all the mask. Like Daredevil. I'm sorry, Frank. It's pretty much like, bro, I know this is not you. Like, stop trying to come at me like you're Matt. Like, no. Like he calls him Red. He doesn't call him Matt. I'm pretty sure. And then if you notice, Matt always calls him Frank. It's like you could just call me the Punisher. Like I'm pretty sure at a certain point they're gonna have that conversation. And yes, and the best commercial that Marvel can ever have for whatever show that they're coming out for Frank Castle was in that wall behind us. I know you had it in the screenshot. All that stuff. That's literally everything. He's like, this is the trailer for the show
next.
Right.
like right here. All these guys.
I'm pretty sure that even at the like very top, there was a quote or something that I can't remember what it said, but there was some kind of hinting at future plans. But yeah, no, it was an interesting moment because it was exactly what I said last week when Gina Polito was on. Everything is about him. All of this is all very thematic. All of this is about how he's dealing with it and how he's not dealing with it. And what a great episode that we get to see Wilson Fisk, who's been sort of on the top of the rooftops and whatnot, in a place where Daredevil usually is, start to descend into that sort of bottom layer where he has Adam being held. And then Daredevil finally rises up to the top, doesn't put anything on, but he is practicing. And I don't think that's the last we're going to see of it. And I think I don't know, Brody, what do you think? You're going to get the full suit next episode, or what do you think?
I mean, at some point, Daredevil has to be Daredevil on the show Daredevil Born Again, right? He has to be born again.
Yeah.
So maybe it's the end of the 5th episode, but at some point, the casual fan, not us, worldly super fans, the casual fan is going to go, is this show about Daredevil or not? Now, we know it's about Daredevil because we're watching going, this is absolutely about Daredevil without seeing Daredevil. But I think he's got to put the costume back on at some point next episode because he's working out, right? He's in his mind, I got to be Daredevil again. I think after meeting with Frank, he realizes he's got to do that. Speaking of the future, if I might just sidetrack for a second, there were 2 things I wanted to reference. One is Fiddle Faddle when he was in prison.
Yes.
You remember the first 2 episodes where I commented that people kept saying, I'm never going to see Foggy again. I was like, you're blind. He's like, I'll see what I can do. In this episode, he says to the guy, I'll see what I can do. And the guy says, see what you can do. You're blind. You can't see anything. And I was like, yes, that's what I've been saying for 4 episodes.
Man, they did a great job of showing this guy in a light that I was like, I hate him. And then it wasn't until his monologue that I was like, oh, I get it though.
Yeah. The other thing is, did you notice when Matt's partner called him? He says, I don't know what you're doing, but I need your help with the Madison case.
Yes. Sorry, I just almost broke everything, but yes. Madison,
do we think it's Madison with 2 N's and a Y, but the Y's not what you think it is?
Not what you think.
We pray. I mean,
it's so her, yeah.
And what else is the idea that she would be in this world? Makes no sense and yet complete sense.
Guys, the next 5 episodes is just about her.
Yay! Finally,
Madison born again.
Like his partner calls Matt again, and then she hangs up, and then it's just POV from her.
Madison for the rest of the episodes. Please, Marcos, welcome to my next poster.
Yes.
I mean, does she run into what's her name, Karen, out in the West Coast, and decide, oh, your friend sounds hot, I'm going to fly to New York to meet him? I don't know, but when I heard Madison. Apparently, just like Katie did, we're like, is it Madison with a Y, but not what you think it is?
I think it has to be, and I kind of hope we get a little bit of Wongers and Madison, just like a blip in the next couple of episodes.
Oh, don't say blip in the MCU because that's a whole other thing. That's 5 years though; they're gone.
A little blip,
mini blip.
Mini blip.
It's been like 5 years since that.
Like I said, you heard it here first. The next episodes is just them 2 shot-for-shot remake of Karen and Madison. What was it, Thelma and Louise? Like the last 30 minutes, shot for shot.
Oh no! Wait, will you lose them both? I can't handle lose. I could lose one, but not both.
Except when they go over the cliff. Spoiler alert! If you have not seen Thelma and Louise, the car turns into a plane and they just fly, and then they go camera angle, and then dark, and then they just keep playing the Daredevil theme for 2 more episodes.
Marcus is just ruining all the rest of Daredevil Born Again.
You know who didn't see Thelma and Louise? Matt
Daredevil.
Murdock.
There it is.
First of all, you didn't reference the cop saying like, "You see this," and then he corrects himself and he goes, "No, you can't see because you're blind." It's like,
yeah, exactly.
so much low hanging fruit.
I know. Yeah, they took some wide swipes at him this episode. I thought that was interesting, and it was almost like the only thing that could actually get him angry was Frank trying to get him to say the name Foggy. And that
was he trying to get him to say Foggy or Ayala?
Foggy. I think he was trying to say Foggy. Yeah,
because he was also
he knew Foggy.
Yeah, but he also knew he was upset about White Tiger. That's why he went there, because he wanted him to deal with the cops relation to White Tiger, and he wouldn't say Ayala. I don't know. I thought it could be either name.
It's all about it is all about that, but I'm pretty sure that Frank was talking about Foggy. I feel like that was fairly
Frank. I don't. Yeah, but Daredevil doesn't have a problem with Foggy. He says Foggy. He mentioned Foggy.
He's saying that you didn't save your friend.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't. I assume, I guess, that
Foggy
it
would
been
cut deeper. Foggy would cut so deep. So.
Yeah.
That's
Brody, if you think about it, his girlfriend has said this is the first time you ever mentioned him. I think he consciously doesn't talk about him.
Yeah.
Like when it's real. I think he only talks about it when it's required or when he's mentioning him in an anecdote. I don't think he's actually vocalized any of his feelings. And I think it does make sense that that Frank would be asking about Foggy because they had this whole friendship. And also how close Foggy was to Karen. And we all know Frank has a thing for Karen, a weakness or whatever have you. I don't know if it's a romance thing. I just think he just likes her as a person.
Yeah. And don't forget, a lot of these scenes were filmed when Froggy and Karen were not even on the show. It's possible he's not mentioning Foggy a lot because Foggy wasn't in the show.
Call him Froggy at this point.
Or any of the little rascals for that.
You know what? I know a guy named Froggy, so that popped into my head for a second. So I wonder if it's like they wrote scenes in to explain why he's not mentioning Foggy, but he also wasn't on the show when they filmed some of these scenes. Mm-hmm. So it's also probably why they don't mention Foggy as much because he wasn't even going to be. He wasn't even on the show. He was going to die way before the show started. So I thought it was Ayala, but you're right. It may have been. He can't mention either one of them, I guess. But maybe Foggy was what he was talking about.
Fun fact. I'm glad you brought that up. So one of the reworkings of this show was the Ayala trial was supposed to go through the entire show. It was supposed to be like the main plot, that connecting thread, and then like it was supposed to end up, I guess, in the same way that it did. And then like towards the end, when Ayala, of course, they filmed that scene where he died. It was supposed to like go into like a whodunit thriller type deal where he was finding his killer. So I guess I'm glad that they use him this way because, in that iteration, yes, Foggy and Karen were blipped or whatever, written out or something. Nobody ever got clarification if they were dead or if they just like, bye, Matt, we can't do this anymore. And he was truly alone. But yeah, like I do like your the way you talk about it. Kamei, my opinion, I don't think he is because it will completely negate this powerful scene that we just got.
Yeah, and that's kind of the so for the listening audience, Cammie Egan just asked, do you think Foggy's somehow still alive? I thought that strongly last week. I don't feel that way this week because it lessens the effect of what this scene was. So I feel like, I guess so, but I think they just added it in. I also heard a rumor, and I don't know whether or not this is true, but that Frank Castle wasn't going to be a character on the show because he didn't like the way that they had written it originally. And then it wasn't until this stuff was written that he decided to come back on.
Or they gave more money. I mean,
either way.
It's funny when you add a zero, what that does.
And promised him a spinoff. It promised him a spinoff episode.
Right.
I like John Bernthal is amazing. Like any set he walks on, he makes the set better. And it's like he probably didn't even go to wardrobe. He probably came dressed like that. That's how he probably has his hair and beard. And then he was like, how about we just put some more guns here? And he was like, don't worry about it. We'll take it from the top.
He was already covered in blood.
You know what?
Tuesday.
I'll do the show if I can kill that Soprano kid. They're like, all right, deal.
Oh, your favorite character. It is funny that we are like saying like painting things with blood, and while we get the bookends of Muse going on in both the beginning and then the very end, and we're seeing some more of his paintings being attributed to actual Muse at the bottom. I thought that was really interesting, especially since our biggest theory, I think we've talked about a couple times on the show, is that it's the kid that went up to the psychiatrist.
Yeah,
100%.
Are we
Better be.
afraid psychiatrist's girlfriend is going to go the way of every girlfriend that is Matt Murdock's?
She's going to become art.
I don't know about that, but I do think that like we have to believe it's him, or else there was a person that was an extra that really should have got him fired. like you know, like thank you, like you know, it's like wait, like why is this person so creepy?
Well, according to IMDb,
Okay.
the character from the first episode or the second episode is named Balin, and according to IMDb, he's made 2 appearances. Balin in episode 2 and episode 4, and that kid was not in episode 4.
Well, he
again,
was.
IMDb sometimes is red herrings. It's not always accurate,
Yeah,
right?
Does it
But-
have uncredited next to it? Because we know that we had the uncredited John Barenthal in the episode.
No, he's
previous.
credited in the episode. It just doesn't say. It says he plays Balin, but Balin wasn't in this episode.
Interesting.
So I think it's. I think. Listen, there's got to be a reason why this guy would come up and be a character and be weird, unless he's another crazy, maniac. I think it has to be Muse. Now, this psychiatrist is Matt's girlfriend. She's handling Kingpin and his wife. And this guy just happens to show up at a book signing. Is she the only psychiatrist in all of Manhattan? And all the crazy people go to him? Go to her?
Hold on, Brody. So I got to answer this. Have you ever tried to get mental health with the current insurance right now?
Okay.
Not all doctors get it. So she might be the only one that
Right.
she
Have
might be
you
the only
asked
one that
me-
takes their insurance.
She has a
Or
book
if
out.
he has-
Doesn't take insurance.
I highly doubt that child has insurance.
Your question, Marcos, was have I ever tried to get psychiatric help? Have you not watched this podcast?
I have.
Watch the Brooklyn Boys. Yeah, you'll have your answers.
But I had to, lead our audience to this, to the conclusion.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And Dr. Joyce Brothers has been deceased for a little while, so that was the only other option. So no Dr. Joyce, no Dear Abby. Then you go to Matt's girlfriend.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not known as a superhero psychiatrist, right? It's not like, Thor goes to see her and, other people like, oh, you're a crazy superpowered person. She's the one to go to.
That's a great pitch for a show, though, Brody.
I think
yeah.
They all have some kind of like costume maker that Matt Murdock sends She-Hulk to. So potentially that's also in somebody's plan is that they have their own psychiatry wing.
It might be something where they Googled psychiatrist New York and her book came up, and then they opened the cover and it was like, oh, she's attractive. Let's because notice she's not working with any females. It's like all dudes.
Who hired Vanessa? Must have hired her. No,
I think
No,
Vanessa
or the assistant.
Oh,
I-
yes, you're right. No, it was.
I think this was orchestrated by Fisk because Vanessa's definitely playing the husband that doesn't want to go to therapy in this entire thing.
Yeah.
But to answer Cammie's question, do you think that the psychiatrist is in Fisk's pocket and is toying with Matt to find his breaking points? I personally don't think so because he has so much other things. I think right now in his mind, Matt is not even there. Like, you know what I mean? He's dealing with, he's thinking about, Adam. He's thinking about his wife. He's thinking about why can't he just do what he wants as a mayor? He thought that he was going to get this power, and no. It's like going straight is harder than he was when he was a criminal. And then ironically, Matt coloring within the lines of the law is also frustrating as hell to him.
Yeah.
How does I understand professional so what I'm looking for, confidentiality, right? With a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
But Matt is constantly talking. He has to have mentioned Fisk. He has to have mentioned and bitched about the mayor to his girlfriend. How does she not say, I can't tell you what we discussed, but he's my client. How does that not come? How does he never say, hey, I'll meet you at your office?
That
I'll
is
pick you up at your office for lunch.
That
Is
is
that not
literally that
Psychologists
is
and psychiatrists have very strong NDA type thing. That is literally
yes.
against their whole protocol, is that they
Yeah.
cannot talk or even mention who they see.
And
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm
and
aware
it's
of the law, but everybody here is corrupt. So how's she not talking to? Hey,
well,
I'm not supposed to tell you, but you know.
for those of us that have mental health professionals in our lives that are family members and friends, the good ones won't say anything.
No, of
You know
course
what I-
not. But how
Yeah.
does nobody
You
see
feel
him
like it
pull
would
up in the
just come up
car
at
outside
some
her
point,
office? He's the mayor. How does he go into an office building and not be seen? No one sees him in the hallways. No one sees him going into her office. It's just strange to me that it's not found out that he's going.
So,
to
Brody,
this.
you're looking for a plot hole in a TV show?
Yes, that's. I don't know if you know this. I do a podcast about Marvel shows, and we talk about shit like that. So,
No, I had no clue. I thought this was just talking about people that like TV. I don't know.
yeah, it seems to me that she should be going to his office, like someplace where no one would see her or recognize her.
Right.
The fact that he's going to her office, where people follow him, reporters follow him all day, it just seems odd to me. That's all.
Well, I think it's right next to a Blimpies, and so that's their cover. They go into the Blimpies,
Right.
they go in the back, and there it is.
There you go. They backdoor the Blimpies.
finally getting all of that really good food that he's always been wanting.
Yeah.
Well, guys, any last thoughts on this episode 4, Six Sempra Systema?
An important one. Did anyone else bump on how Matt pronounced caramel or caramel?
Yes.
I noticed it, but I didn't.
What did he say? Because he's British, and this, he's in real life.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah, well, right, and because he's pretty good with his
The accent.
British
Yeah.
accent does not come out much. But that was a moment where I definitely bumped on that, and then he repeated it. But then I realized, because we're all from different parts of the country, we all probably pronounce that word differently. So then I forgave him for his sins of pronunciation. But I
What a
figure you guys
forgiveness.
are both New Yorkers, Brody and Marcos. How do you say the word?
I grew up saying caramel apple, caramel, right? But
Yeah.
as an adult now, I try my best to say caramel, because
okay.
Carmel is a town in California.
That is true.
Yeah, I say caramel too.
And he said it neither of those ways.
Yeah.
Yep.
I almost recorded it, but I got worried. Like, would we get struck even if I only did the soundbite of caramel?
You don't mess with the mouse, man.
Yeah, don't mess with the mouse house. That's why I only did a social media video and not something from the actual show, because as far as I know, we are not legitimately allowed to be showing clips like that, but we are allowed to show.
There's a legal amount you can show. That's why when people do reaction videos and they show the video, clips, it's something like there's a percentage, right? So you time out the percentage, and that's why those reviewers have that exact amount shown. And the same with audio.
That's what you should be doing now, dude.
No, I
same with audio. You could have played the caramel clip where you wouldn't have a problem.
I prefer the screenshots. I prefer them, the crude ones. The cruder, the better. Like I want you to, I want you to like, yeah. But I want you the next time is stand outside of your house, open your drapes, and then take a screenshot of your TV.
Yeah, yeah, you got it. Absolutely. Well,
listen, if the Disney app let you screenshot, it would be great, but it doesn't. So
right.
So I have a Vitor like headset, right? That it shows like 120-inch screen on your glasses.
Nice.
And the Disney app does not let me watch it. Netflix does every other, and I was just like, "What the hell?" So I had to wait until my wife went to bed for me to rewatch the episode. On our
Your wife went to bed so you could watch Disney. Marcos, you're a great husband.
Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't like
Disney app is
anything.
the worst.
It is.
It's
That's
7
why.
steps to turn the subtitles on.
Apple TV, Apple Plus is the worst app because it doesn't stream on Roku or any of that. So no, Apple
TV is the worst because you can't have 2 accounts on there. You can have 1 account. You have to like all have the same, like, Max and you can have like 5 people have different accounts. Apple has 1 account. When it says, "Oh, add another account," you're like, "Oh, I can add another account." Oh, yeah, if you pay for it.
Yeah.
Take that, Silo.
Yeah.
Silo's fantastic. I love Silo.
It's
great show.
It's a great show.
So is Severance. But getting back to the show at hand, Daredevil Born Again.
She doesn't care. She doesn't care. She knows he's got
Gideon
him.
asks, when does Vanessa find out Adam is one of Fisk's caged animals? I think she found out in episode 6. I am curious to see where all of that goes. And yes, William Walton, we did discuss this, I believe, last week, but there is a storyline in the comics where Foggy fakes his death and doesn't even tell Matt. Also, Foggy has been confirmed for season 2. We don't know if that's a flashback or anything. That is one of the crazy fun things about that.
My movie idea is happening, Katie. Like,
I know.
I'm telling
the fog
you.
of war is happening.
Fog of war.
Do you guys watch Only Murders in the Building?
Yes, not in
On
a minute,
occasion.
Yeah.
I lived it.
Okay, so can I spoil something that's already happened?
Listening audience, tune out. Yeah, go ahead.
Jane Lynch dies in season 3, but then she comes back as a ghost, but physically she's there as an actress for most of season 4, talking to Steve Martin's character. So Foggy could very easily be his body in the scene, being his moral compass, and say, "Oh, Foggy's back."
I hope they don't do that.
Cop out.
Yeah,
I hope they don't, but it would be interesting because Matt's not going to church. Matt doesn't have Karen. Matt doesn't have Foggy. Matt doesn't have Frank. He doesn't really have anyone to confide in except for his psychiatrist girlfriend that he's not really talking to that much. And he's also flirting with other women on the side.
Latvian. He's trying to get some Latvian treats on the side. Yeah.
But hold on, can we talk about the fact that I think he doesn't talk to her because he doesn't want to get worked up. He doesn't want like her to use her tricks of the trade to like diagnose him with something, because it's like it's like if Wilson Fisk and Vanessa's like a dietitian, he doesn't want to tell her anything. Right. He's like, what did you write in your food journal? It's like, shut up, Vanessa.
What was in that sausage?
What was in that sausage, though? I
will say, as far as Vanessa goes, when the psychiatrist says, "Did you end it with Adam?" She goes, "I didn't have a chance to." Do you know where he is? No, I don't. And Fisk says, "I don't." Yeah, and they also said, "What do you do for a living?" And they're like, "Businessman." Like they both said, right? I don't think like Vanessa liked Adam in the moment, but she's not losing sleep. All she said was, "Don't kill him." That's it. She didn't say, "I don't want anything bad to happen to him. I want to be able to talk." Like she tried to call him. She can't reach him. Okay. Wilson Fisk is your husband. You can't reach him. If she obviously knows something happened to him, she sees that Wilson comes home with the bloody fingers, the bloody knuckles. She doesn't really care. She doesn't give a shit. So when you say like, what's she going to do when she finds out Adam's, I don't think she gives a shit. I think she's like a Black Widow. She's like, oh, you know what? Whatever happened, I didn't want him dead, but he's out of my life. It wasn't like a thing. Wilson's back now. She's not losing sleep over Adam. I don't think she cares one way or another. She's like, yeah, I didn't get to end it. I don't know what happened to him. She's not looking to find out what happened to him. She doesn't have all the mobs looking for him on the street. No. She doesn't have like, her minions like, hey, if you see this guy, Adam, check out his apartment. She's done with him. Just don't kill him. Yeah, I feel bad.
Brody, would you say a hands-off approach? I'll see myself out.
First of all,
yes, jingle bells.
this show missed the opportunity. I wish in another universe we would have just not seen Adam. Not seen him. They just keep referring to him, and everybody's turning to each other like, who the hell? Like they start going back to all the Netflix shows, like, who the hell's Adam? And then they credit the actor like in the wiki and IMDb, but then like they never showed him. And then it's like,
oh, like Fraser's wife.
Norm's wife. And Niles' Adam shows up and they just throw a pie in his face, so we don't never see the actor.
Yeah.
Deep Cheers reference. Yes.
That's a very deep Cheers reference. Or a Frasier reference with Niles' wife. Also never.
Yeah, Niles' wife. Yep.
But yeah, no, it's an interesting thing because they are talking about it as like a pain point in therapy. So it makes me think that Vanessa does still care for Adam, whatever version of him he is. I'm confused on the timeline of how long he's gone missing and what exactly is Fisk doing with him down there, and why when Muse goes to his little courtyard underneath all of the train tracks, does it look fairly similar to where Fisk was? Did anyone notice that? The structures kind of look similar.
We're
I'll have to watch it again. I think Muse is going to go after Wilson Fisk at some point. I think he's gonna, he may end up saving Adam or killing Adam. I I think Muse. Isn't Muse in the comics anti-hero, anti-superpowered people or something? I think he's going to go after Fisk at some point. So we'll see. I think in the comics he goes after Fisk too. So I could be
Great.
wrong.
Speaking of Muse, I just want to know where they live at that nobody cares about an unconscious, a masked person just walking around with an unconscious person over their
Over their
shoulder.
back.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's like-
that's called New York.
I was going to say Burbank.
I was setting you up, Brody.
What I don't know is where was the train yard he was he was like walking on train tracks that looked like they were in Oklahoma.
They
So
were in
I don't know.
Jersey.
It was a long
New
walk.
Jersey.
Yeah. But any other final thoughts before we head out today on this episode? This was a really good episode, and sorely missed you, Christian Blatt. But hopefully you enjoyed this as much as we did. I can't wait to hear his opinions once he comes back from spring training in Arizona. Brody, I feel like you can talk more to the baseball stuff, but is he having fun?
Oh, he's having a great time. He's put up some great pictures with his family. He's eating crappy ballpark food.
Yep.
And he's raising his kids right because they're being brainwashed early to care about baseball. Unlike the Hamptons who dropped the ball, apparently.
Listen, there is a Hampton that is very into the Atlanta Braves.
Oh,
It's not my thing.
no.
And no
I
relation
like
to Mike Hampton, who
Daredevil.
pitched for the Mets in 2000 and
Yes,
left for a better
indeed.
school system in Colorado.
Oh, I can't wait to bring Mark on just so he can bitch at you about the Mets.
Oh, please do. Anytime. I mean, name the alley. We're there.
Yeah,
Done.
sounds good. But before we go, folks, where can everybody find you? Marcos, why don't you head up first?
On all socials at the Sunset Kid 56, wherever you can find all the awesome podcasts, of course, on Geekscape Network. Xpod 97, we're always around. We're always doing something.
Great. Awesome. And Brody, where can people find you?
By the way, you guys didn't notice my white box at the bottom of the screen there?
Not
Not
on
news.
news.
I
I,
did.
didn't see it.
I noticed it. I
Oh.
noticed
Thank
it.
you. Well, I'd like to
I
get
thought
some.
you were
props.
gonna bring it in.
Brody, That was
Well, I had to
phenomenal.
because you know. Thank you. Anyway, you can find me on Marvel Movie Talk on a regular basis. Thank the Lord. You can find me on the Bloodcast next week doing the baseball preview with the cast of characters that Christian has assembled. And of course, how about the Cubs losing? Fantastic. Yes. Well, I hate the Dodgers now. And you can find me, of course, on the Brooklyn Boys podcast, wherever you get your podcast, 2 episodes a week. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. And then Eric, where can people find you?
Well, if you are in the LA area, you could find me talking with this fine gentleman, Rob Kuttner, discussing his book, The Jews, 5,000 Years and Counting, which Brody and I have been counting every one of those years.
But again, for you, 3,000.
Right. Friend rate. It's Sony guts. It's all good. But that's going to be a week from Thursday. If you want to find out more, shoot me a note, Count Eric Connor. Also, I did a recap of seasons 1 through 3 of Daredevil, which I watched in record time, bleary-eyed, hence the red glasses. But me and the red glasses are there. So if you have 8.5 minutes to spare,
Yep.
you can watch me pontificate on all 3 seasons. No spoilers for season 4 there. Although if you're watching this, we've already spoiled it for you, so don't worry about it. But seasons
And
1 through 3.
I can attest it's a quality 6 minutes out of the 8.5.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Yeah, I thought you would say 2. It's the only
That's what
Daredevil
she needs,
recap that has a reference to both Back to the Future and the Iron Sheik.
Nice.
Proud of
Okay.
that.
Very cool. Well, you can always find me at El Sassy Pants, ELSASSYPANTS. It's underneath my name. If you can't see it, look a little closer. You can also find me on the Napping Through Happy Hour podcast. You can find me on Christian Cringe. You can find me on Marvel Movie Talk. You can find me Trek, Marry, Kill. There's a whole bunch of shows that I'm on, but you can find me a lot of different places. And you can also find me this Friday, maybe with Eric, but also maybe not with Eric, with What Won the Week. Geekscape is doing a thing every Friday around 1:00, I believe. And it is basically our way to just make sure that people are having a good time and remembering what good things have actually happened in the week, because there's been a lot of shitty things. So be sure to check that out, and always come back here for your Marvel Movie Talk next Wednesday. Brody, you're pointing downwards.
Yeah. Did Marcos tell everybody where he can be found? Did I miss that? Okay,
He was
sorry.
the first one that went. Okay.
Yeah.
Napping through Marvel movie talk is the name of this show.
No, I was trying to remember. You know what? When he was talking, I was trying to remember what I was supposed to plug on my own. So I apologize.
It's all good, all good. But if you are in the LA area and you are listening and watching right now, today, Wednesday, March 19th, you can come see me playing at the Pack Theater with Faux Pas, where we take your embarrassing stories and we make them worse. Yeah, so lots of fun stuff ahead of us, and I'm very excited for next week's double episode. I believe we're getting. So please tune in, and thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you later. Bye.
Oh,
Excelsior.
Excelsior. Is that what I do in order to?
No, you don't have.